And when it comes to the akhirah, like that is just ta'ban, like completely, like, you know, people they don't even have like aspirations to even learn the fara'id of the deen. You understand? Like it's just there's nothing. They don't seek knowledge, nothing. So it's important just for us to, you know, think about and rectify, like what are we actually, do we need to aspire for more, which is obviously the akhirah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We're back again with the brothers. Another episode, another week. Becoming routine now, innit? Anyways, today we're going to be talking about high aspiration. High aspiration, lads. High aspiration. Isa, go on, tell us, what's high aspiration?
There was a very concise definition. واستثقال ما دون النهاية معالي الأمور, to undermine anything that is below the very best, basically. So linguistically though, it means high aspirations, obviously. علو الحمة. No.
Alright.
But yeah, in theory, it's to undermine anything else which is below your potential, kind of thing. You get me? So yeah, that's what it comes down to.
How high should you aim
The highest you can.
as a Muslim?
The highest you can.
Because it's high aspirations. Well,
Yeah.
okay, go on, but tell me. Let's be more like practical now.
Because as a Muslim, Allah made us the best of people. He made us above all the other religions, right? So it should be in a Muslim's nature to aim for the best thing possible in every aspect. For example, even in worldly life and in your deen and your religious stuff. So for example, in the deen, of course, you should strive to be the best Muslim possible. You should strive to pray the best, to have the most complete prayers, the most complete fasts, like as much prayer as you can, and being the best Muslim, having the best manners, etc. You should want to be the best, basically. And in the worldly life as well, I think, for example, like if you're studying, right, you should try and do the best you can, even though it's not directly linked to the deen. It should still be like everything you do, you shouldn't settle for less, basically. And if you build that mentality for everything you do, then it will come naturally in your deen as well, I think.
That's a good point. So we should always strive to do the best we can in whatever we pursue, basically.
You should not want to be mediocre, basically.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I think a lot of people, they're relaxed and they're calm with, just being average. But I think as a Muslim now, that shouldn't be acceptable. You should want to, within yourself, you should want to be the best you can possibly be and be better than everyone else as well. Obviously, don't be arrogant.
Yeah.
Obviously,
that can creep in.
Yeah. I think Bakr Abu Zayd mentions that so high aspirations is like the adornments of the inheritors of the prophets, but arrogance is the traits of the tyrants and the oppressors. So it's a fine line, but obviously, high aspiration is something that you within yourself, you're aiming to be the best. Arrogance is thinking you're better than everyone and thinking that you're above everyone and everyone else below you, and that's obviously haram.
Yeah. Linking to what Asad said about, striving to be the best. In the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ comes in kutiba ihsan ala kulli shay. So ihsan is to, strive to do something as best as you can do that thing. For example, I think in the Ibn Uthaymin Dawra, Ustad Abu Wahid, he mentioned, even if you're like a coffee maker that, he makes coffee, like Costa or whatever, yeah, you make that coffee like, as best as you can make that coffee. Yeah. You understand? And in another Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned to have, itqan in your a'mal. So, you perfect the action that you do. Whatever it may be, dunya or akhirah, you strive to, perfect and do the action as best as you can do the action.
So a very good point, man.
I'll just add on to that as well. Even with like worldly stuff as well, it can also be rewardable because with a correct intention, obviously إنما الأعمال بالنيات. So with correct intention for anything you do, it can be an act of worship. So let's say you're working or something, you work at your very best. Let's say you're a coffee maker, as Mustafa mentioned, and you do that as your job. You work your very best to make coffees, innit? So to provide for your family and relax, innit? But yeah.
So then you're saying you can change your intention to get rewarded for even doing dunya things. Yeah, definitely.
So people say like it's useless doing this, doing that. Like even Sir Kharij has mentioned today, like it's more rewardable if you serve your wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Than to stand up all night and you reject her obligations, for example.
Yeah. I think also a lot of people, including me, I can't lie, but like we kind of neglect or be like dismissive of worldly things, like for example university or studies or whatever, or work. But people, little do we know that it can be rewarding for us, and it can be a lot of reward for us, and we shouldn't neglect that, and we should try and work hard in that as well as religious stuff as well. But there has to be a balance. You have to take both with you basically, and you can't just neglect the other, because in the days we live in, like it's impossible for us to neglect the worldly life. Obviously take the good from it and like not go too deep into it, but there's still an obligation. You have to provide for your family, you have to provide for your future and stuff like that. So obviously, so even in that you have to do the best you can so you can get the best future you can. And also in that, if you work hard, I'm speaking more to students and people studying, right? If you work hard in your youth and you study hard in dunya related things, then it'll become easier for you to focus on religious stuff as well afterwards, as well as doing it now, of course. But yeah.
No,
I was waiting for you to drop that gem, man. The عادات أهل العلم.
Oh yeah, we mentioned it before, innit?
We mentioned it before. Nah.
So
Yeah.
drop it then. Come on.
It's back to what Isa was saying, and he was saying like the normal stuff that people do, you can change it into acts of ibadah. And like if you're going to work, you can have the intention, I'm working. This money I'm going to use, I'm going to spend on my wife, my kids, etc. So the saying that the scholars use is that عادات أهل العلم عبادة, right?
No, عادات أهل
علم عبادة and عبادات أهل الغفلة عادة. So basically, the norms of the people of knowledge, their normal day-to-day actions, like them eating,
it's worship.
sleeping, working, for them is worship. Why? Because of the intention. For example, if you eat because Allah said in the Quran, وَكُلُوا وَشْرَبُوا, so you're having intention, I'm eating because Allah told me to eat. That's ibadah. We don't think of that. We just eat in it, subhanAllah. But another thing, working as well, working for the intention of I'm going to get paid, I'm going to, use money to give charity or spend it on my family, etc. Ibadah again. Another one, sleeping. Have an intention to sleep because you need to get some energy to wake up to pray Fajr. Again, the whole sleep you're getting rewarded for that ibadah. And then the opposite was true. The other part of the statement was عبادات أهل الغفلة عادات. عادة. Basically, the acts of worship of people that are negligent people, for them is just
Normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
So their prayer, they're just praying because it's a habit. Like they're just brought up with it, or they're sleeping because I'm just sleeping. They're heedless about it. So that's a good contrast between
I think
actions.
that's a very good statement,
No,
Like,
I was going to mention it, but I just
You articulate it better, bro, so I'll let you have it.
No, that's laughing.
Right, just going back a little bit, where you guys said being the best of whatever we do. So how do you get to that point to become the best at whatever you do?
I think I was listening to like some lecture. Some sheikh was like, some people they're like, oh, like I'm just not that guy that has high aspirations. But the first thing that he mentioned is just ask Allah for high aspirations. Like just keep on asking Allah, to make you someone that excels in the everything, like your dunya and your akhirah. So the main thing is just to ask Allah to make you the best.
And even like the high station of someone who aspires hard, then they're going to reach the loftiest stations, right? They're going to reach Jannatul Firdaus. If they strive hard in their deen and they're going to work hard, then that's their end result. And they're going to get so much barakah from their hard work. They might not see it straight away, but eventually, you know how they say hard work pays off. Like eventually you're going to see the fruits of that. And I was reading something. This person who used to work hard, right? He used to work hard in his life. Like he worked really hard. So the people used to say to him that if you die now, then you will live forever. Meaning all that hard work that he did in his life, it will pay off after he's dead, as in benefit, like it could be beneficial knowledge or sadaqah, something like that. So all that hard work in this life, or even then, like his akhirah will be much better because he worked hard in this life. It even reminds me of a hadith. A person from the people of the hellfire, who enjoyed this life, they had the luxuries of this life, right? Allah asked them, did you have any peace?
It'll be dipped into into the hellfire.
Yeah. And they'll be asked, did you enjoy anything of this? And he said, no, I didn't enjoy anything. And a person of the he'll be dipped into Jannah, and he was asked, did you have any? He had a hard life in this life, as in he was poor, he didn't have anything. He was, do you have any struggle in the dunya? He said, no, I didn't struggle at all.
Just that little 1 second.
So it shows that the person who struggled, but they struggled for Allah, then they will achieve the best in the next life, which is the most important life, which is the akhirah. And inshallah, they'll receive Jannatul Firdaus, and that's when the real eternal happiness is.
And like, just seeing from that hadith, like, you know, people say like balance between like dunya and akhirah. Like, I remember like there was a video of it, like went viral. Sheikh Jamal, he was like, how can you have balance between dunya and akhirah when the balance is like they have to weigh the same if you're gonna balance it. But the dunya compared to akhirah is nothing.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like, you know, like we've all been guilty of it. Like people, they have so many high aspirations in the dunya, yeah. And when it comes to the akhirah, like it's just ta'ban, like completely, like, you know, people they don't even have like aspirations to even learn the fara'id of the deen. You understand? Like it's just there's nothing. They don't seek knowledge, nothing. So it's important just for us to, you know, think about and rectify, like, what are we actually, do we need to aspire for more, which is obviously the akhirah. Yeah.
So just going back a little bit, yeah, we said one of the main things is to ask Allah for high aspirations, innit?
Yeah.
So then let's say you're that person now who doesn't have high aspirations for the akhirah. So what would you tell them? So make dua. I'd say set goals as well.
Set goals. Even a lot of times when people have low aspirations, it's because they're around people with low aspirations. The whole environment is people who don't even care about the akhirah, basically. So that's one thing that you have to change your environment. And we say it almost every episode, you know what I'm saying? How important companions are. Yeah. It's so important, man, honestly. Because if you're around people with high aspirations, then you're going to be like them. You're going to want to be like them as well. And even staying away from disobeying Allah as well. I think Ibn al-Jawzi mentioned, have you ever seen anyone who disobeys Allah be successful? And have you ever seen anyone who's obedient to Allah be unsuccessful? So if you're obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah will make it easy for you. And if you have the high aspirations, then you'll get there. Yeah.
Do you want to mention that hadith?
I was taking it in, sorry. No. I was going to mention some lines of poetry of what Asa just said. It's a famous one, and you guys probably heard it like 1,000 times. But it goes like, بقدر الكد تكتسب المعالي من طلب العلا سهر الليالي. Whoever puts in the effort, تكتسب المعالي, they'll get a lofty space, basically, lofty station. So whoever puts in the effort, they'll get a lofty station. من طلب العلا سهر الليالي. Whoever seeks something that's high, loftiness, then they will stay up the nights. Well, I'm so bad at translating, but yeah, that's the famous statement, innit? So if you wanna get far in life, obviously, okay, where does that? Basically, look, if you wanna be different from the people, you have to be different. Whatever you do, you have to be different from everyone else. Everyone else sleeps at this time. You're different. You sleep at an earlier time and you wake up earlier, get more things done. You can't expect to be different if you're the same as everyone else. If that makes sense. Like a lot of people say, I want to do this, but they don't want to do it, because if they really wanted to do it, they'll do it. You get it? But obviously, you can't really do things unless Allah allows it for it to happen, right? So that's the first thing. I think the first thing that we should do, if someone wants to have high aspirations, number one, ask Allah for it. How are you neglecting? A lot of people do this, man. Like they always ask, like, طلاب العلم, like, advice for this. But are we even ask Allah first? First ask Allah. Ask Him, Ya Allah, look, I have this situation. What do you think? Guide me to it. And then ask the people. But now everyone just put the people first and then Allah next. Even when it comes to complaining and stuff like that, they complain to people but don't complain to Allah. But that's the first thing. Start with Allah. At-Tawheed. Come on. Start with Allah. Naam. And after that, so if you want to get high aspirations, ask Allah for it. Number two, now is you have to tie your camel now, innit? So now you have to do your own self-evaluation. Like, you know what's right for you, you know what's wrong for you. So you evaluate yourself. Make a timetable for yourself. A realistic one, innit? Not one like, I need to do this, but you know you're not going to do it. A realistic timetable. That's number two. And number three, your environment. Because now you sorted out what Allah's going to do for you. Ask Allah. Now you sorted out yourself. And now people around you, because they affect you as well, like I mentioned in the previous podcast. So Allah, yourself, and people. First ask Allah, then you yourself make a timetable, act on it. And then people around you, make sure they're on the same goal as you. So if you're trying to memorize the Quran, you don't hang around people that are listening to music, for example. Or if you want to become a student of knowledge, you don't hang around people that, just watch, entertainment the whole day. That's it. Those three things from what I think, in Wallah Alam. If you want to add anything.
I agree. I think they complement each other at the same time as well. So instead of doing number one, step by step, if you try to do all of them consistently and at the same time.
No, yeah.
Because they all work, bro. Dua. What was the second thing you mentioned?
Yourself, actually doing it, striving
and
yourself.
the third one is companionship, or who you hang around,
Yeah.
the energy
Yeah.
you hang around with. So I think all of them.
You need all three now.
Yeah, you need all
Yeah.
three. Yeah, no.
But
So,
if you miss one, then it can affect you.
yeah, it kind of if you miss one, you won't get the result.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people miss out on the second one, especially as in actually doing the hard work, right? It's easy for us all to say, you know, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I plan this, I have all these ideas and stuff like that, right? But a lot of people, they just say all of that, then they don't do anything. They put nothing into practice.
Say at night time, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have deep
wake up
thoughts.
2 a.m.
There's this thing that
Nighttime
everyone
thoughts.
set goals at night. I'm gonna do this tomorrow, this tomorrow.
And then
Wake up at 10.
But I feel like the first one is linked. I feel like the first one is linked to the second one. Because if someone sincerely is asking Allah for it, that means
He has to be.
that means you really want to do it.
He has to
Yeah.
be doing.
that's part of high aspirations, innit? Because if you didn't have high aspirations for it, then you wouldn't even ask, innit?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't care about it, really.
Um,
But even like, I can't see someone to be an intellectual person without having high aspirations. Like you're basically like you're wasting your life, basically, innit? You're not even aspiring to do anything with your life. Like it's a waste, innit? Like, yeah, it's a waste. Like, honestly.
Also, success doesn't happen overnight, innit? So it's a long period of time. But obviously, as Abdullah mentioned, I think he mentioned it, set goals.
Right.
Was it you? I can't remember.
Yeah, set goals, yeah.
Yeah, set goals. Be realistic with yourself.
Even a bit of motivation, yeah. If you look at all the people who have like reached that, like for example the scholars, right? You look at them, they're just like us. They're human beings, they're flesh and bones, you know what I'm saying? But what differentiates us and them is just their high aspirations. They had aspirations, they reached and they got what they wanted, basically. So that's the only thing stopping you. Only thing stopping you from reaching their levels is just you aiming high, basically. Because we're all the same person, and obviously asking Allah and all the other things, but in essence, that's what differentiates us, and that's what helps them reach their high. Like, you can't tell me for a second, for example, Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. I use him as an example because he achieved so much.
Yeah.
But do you not think that he aspired to reach the things that he wanted to do, and he put his mind to it and he did it? And like, look at the fruits. Like I always mention, like he's passed away how many years ago, how many centuries ago, and we still say his name and make dua from every time we say his name, right? So if you want to be from, especially for students of knowledge, right? If you want to be from Allah's most beloved people, people that Allah loves, the people closest to the Prophet ﷺ in Jannah, then you have to aim high, man. You can't be mediocre. I think a lot of students of knowledge, they don't aim high enough. They don't want to, like for example, as a student, you should want to be like a scholar, basically. You want to be like the best of scholars, basically. That should be your aspirations, right? And you want to say, no, I'm not built for it. I'm not this guy. I'm not that guy. But
No one
you
was
have to
built
make
for it in the first
exactly.
place.
That's right. You have to build yourself to be like that, right? But it's just all about wanting it more, man. Who wants it more? And those people are going to succeed. They're going to stand out and they're going to keep
How
going.
bad do you want it as well?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very important. There's a statement like الناس إنما تعلو أقدارهم, like the people's levels in their own, like even going back to what you said, what's the difference between us and the Salaf, us and the people who strived, and we hear about their books, their content, their names up until today. The people in communities, their levels are in accordance to their aspirations. So going back to what Omar was saying, like how bad do you want it? If you want it that bad, then obviously, like anyone who you deem to be successful, if you just think about in your head, like a person who you deem to be successful, is it not the case that they strove to be like that?
Yeah. 100%.
Like it doesn't come by just sitting there.
And you can't expect it to all just come to you, bro.
100%.
Like, you have to strive for it, man.
All right, so cool. Let's say now someone hits a stage where the aspiration isn't as high as it was as when they first started. How do they deal with that? What can they do, like practical steps?
First of all, make dua, obviously. Ask Allah to rectify your situation. And also, it probably comes from low iman as well. Like, if you're feeling a bit low in iman, then try and increase your iman, basically, by doing, for example, trying to do righteous actions. And you just have to strive. Obviously, everyone goes through a rut sometimes. Sometimes it's difficult. Some people feel a bit low. That's normal. That happens to everyone, right? You just have to think, while I am feeling this a bit low, then still try and do something that will still help you, basically. Try not to quit it completely, basically. Yeah. And also, it also goes back to, for example, motivation versus discipline, right? Motivation, it keeps you going for a bit, for a week, and then it dies out. But discipline, it will keep you going even when you're feeling low. For example, if you're memorizing Quran, right, and you're really just not up to it, like you're just feeling proper like lethargic and tired, right? You still have to memorize that page or however many you're doing. That's discipline. That's what will get you all the way there.
Even if it takes longer than usual, you're still gonna do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So
you have to struggle through it, basically. Just like, work hard. Yeah.
Just develop a routine.
Yeah.
What was it called? Yeah, just develop a routine. I can't think of the word right now. But anyways.
But it is easier said than done, I can't lie.
Of course,
We all struggle with this, innit? Like, sometimes we fall like
100%.
down, innit? But it's easier said than done. Just make a routine, but it's hard to make one. It's hard to like put yourself in a position to make one.
I say just make your new routine easier than the previous one.
Yeah, but going to make a routine, that's the long bit. Do you know when it comes to laziness and stuff like that? Low aspirations, whatever.
No, just do it at night, bro. That's when you get your
No, but
motivation.
actually going out to do it, that's the hard bit. But once you do it, it's like, this was easy. But going out of your way to do it, and that's the thing, like, it's all mental. Like, once you tell yourself you can do it, then that's when you can do it. Even when you guys are talking about no one that's reached success, they haven't just done it out of nowhere. They planned it, like, look, I want to get to her. It's true, like, no one memorized Bukhari knowing that, I'm only going to memorize one hadith.
Yeah.
No, they made the intention to memorize Bukhari and more books probably. And that's how they memorized it. Why am I saying Bukhari? Subhanallah. Quran.
But
Yeah. But it's because there's a lot in it.
Yeah.
Hard work beats talent, fam.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just remember the video I saw the other day. Yeah. Imagine if you memorize 4 lines of the Quran every day, you'll finish the Quran in 5 years. 4 lines. But people, when they hear that, they say, 4 lines, I can do that easy. Let me just do a page. See, this is where the part discipline and consistency comes in. Because if you do a page now, maybe down the line, you might lose motivation and the page is a bit too long. But 4 lines, it's like what, 15, 20 minutes a day to memorize if it's even difficult. So yeah, man, that goes back to your point where you said you have to be disciplined. When you're disciplined, you're still gonna do it, even though your motivation is very low.
Yeah. Even if it's a bit. Because if you're aiming to do a page, right? Say if you fall a bit short than that, it's still, obviously you're not meeting your target, but it's still like you're still doing
the energy bar is still on red.
Yeah.
It's not completely gone.
And it should never be gone. It should always be like, even if it's a tiny bit, it should still. And also we can give all the advice, we can give all the advice, but at the end of the day it comes back to the person and they just have to get up and just do the thing that they want to do. And also once you start, it becomes easier afterwards. Once you just put the first foot in and you actually start doing it, then it becomes easier for you afterwards. Like you get the ball rolling basically, and then you can start the car and drive off basically.
This might sound very weird, but the way I think of it, whenever I'm just lazy, I just think aggressively. Like, nah, I'm doing it. Like, I just get aggressive. For example, like, say it might sound weird, innit? But just use aggression of your mind. Like, say you're sleeping, you're like so comfy, but you need to get up and, like, what I'm saying, go about your day. Well, I just get aggressive. I'm getting up. Just get up. Just get aggressive. Well,
not everyone can do that, so
just get up and
get up.
But I don't think I'm articulating it properly, but like, you need that level of just
that burst of energy,
that himma, that aggression, just to get up.
Like when you're lifting,
I'm not saying get up and just go and just start shouting. I'm saying the mental aggression, bro. Like,
That's what Mustafa does, isn't it?
just fight yourself. It's basically like a mental battle, fam. Like, just fight yourself, just get up, like, you know what I'm saying?
So what are you saying? Everyone should do sit-ups on that?
Yeah,
If that helps you,
mindset
that
sit-ups,
helps you,
sit-ups. Just fight yourself mentally.
Okay.
I don't even know where this combo is going.
exercise helps though.
Huh?
Exercise actually helps though. Like
Stimulate the mind.
aspirations. I'm not being lazy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Keeps you.
I don't know. But
You know what? Yeah,
You don't know.
yeah, I saw something the other day. There's 3 things.
You're lazy, that's on you, bro.
what's so funny? Do you want to share the joke?
Do you want to share the joke?
What joke? I didn't say nothing. If I had a
I
joke, I
feel
would have said it.
I can't lie.
But he violated himself,
man.
innit?
Hey, where's the manners at?
I know it's calm. Basically,
That was the previous episode still.
I saw like a post, and it was saying like you need 3 things in life. Going back to like exercise and that, you need like food for your body, food for your mind, and food for your soul. And your body includes exercise. You get me? Your soul includes ilm, all of this,
Iman.
ibadah,
No.
and your mind is whatever you want to do. Like, I don't know.
Whatever you want to do.
I don't know.
When you say ilm is
Your
for
mind
the
is whatever you want it to be, huh?
No, but like, does that make sense?
I got what you mean, but
Where is your mind?
No, I've seen that though. I've seen that. I've actually
Does
seen
that make sense?
Those three intertwined.
yeah, you go low, then you just
Like, if one is lacking, it will affect the
this
other
is your
two. Yeah,
shuttle's a bit off.
Come on, bro. I'm not an explainer, bro. You get me?
Explain now.
Explainer,
Is that word? Swear.
commentator.
Nice, come.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very basic question, but who should we look up to?
The best of people.
And that is
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Sallallahu alayhi
Why do you think he's so long, bro?
in there. Why is he thinking about it? Where's your mind at?
No, because I want everyone to say it like together. I'm sorry, no.
What's that, man?
Questionable guys, no.
PDF come and see you.
But anyways, yeah, we should look up to the Prophet
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
So,
Yeah. What else?
And also
Yes,
the-
Was that
the
it?
scholars as well.
That's it.
The scholars as well, of course, we have to look up to, and the pious people, the Salaf and stuff like that, because, like we said before, they strove hard and they got where they were because of their high aspirations and their correct intention and everything else. And also, what helps is reading the biographies of the Salaf and the scholars and stuff like that. I think that really helps with aspirations and motivation and stuff like that.
And people can relate to it as well.
Because when you see these great people, like even when you come back to the principle that they're just like us, they're just human beings, right? And you see what they achieved, then it gets you motivated. You're like, right, I want to be like them because they're the best of people and they're Allah's, like, you know, they're close to Allah because the ulama, they know Allah the best and they have the most knowledge. And yeah, I think we should always strive to be like that, man. I don't think if you're aiming lower than that, then like ask yourself, what is your purpose here in it? Like why are we doing everything we're doing? It's to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to get the highest pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get the highest level in Jannatul Firdaus. So if you look at their biographies, right, and you know these people are the best of people, then it will motivate you and help you like reach their aspirations and reach their level, basically. Yeah.
Also, going on from that. So they cut you off?
no, I wanted them to mention the
About gender, yeah.
no, the what is it? If you can't be the people, then be like them. Or
Oh. Who mentioned that? I think Sheikh Salih Hussein mentioned it in تعاليم العلم. They said
Yeah,
فتشبهوا وإن لم تكونوا مثلهم فإن التشبه بالكرام فلاح. Basically, you imitate them, innit? People knowledge the
can't be
best of
like them,
people,
yeah.
imitate them. And if you can't be like them, then know that you trying to imitate them, there's success in that.
Yeah. I read another quote was like tread the path of the virtuous people. Even if you're not like them, then you'll have the smell of them, basically. As in, a bit of them will come off on you anyways because you're striving to be like them. So even if it's just a bit.
And you're on the same path
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
sense as well.
Yeah.
So,
You're striving, and even the intention of wanting to be like them, like is that this rewardable one, yeah.
I was gonna say as well, like going on from that, I was waiting for Abdullah to mention this, but in terms of dua, like ask for the highest,
No.
ask for the highest thing. Do you wanna drop it?
Nah, just the hadith. innit?
وإذا سألتم
Yeah, وإذا سألتم الله فاسألوه الفردوس. If you're asking Allah, ask for Jannah al-Firdaus.
No.
Don't just ask for Jannah, ask for the highest.
No.
And it's going back to what we said before. I don't know if you mentioned it, but you know, once you aim high, like even if you don't reach it, you always get something that's near it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you always aim to, I don't know,
The moon,
give
innit?
me an example. I don't know, run 10 kilometers a day. I don't know if anyone does that. But if you can't do it, you end up running 8 or 7. I'm sorry for the examples. But you get me though?
Yeah,
The Quran is shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land among
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
stars and
mention
that.
Nah, I think
No.
there's an actual quote in it.
Yeah,
it's a
it's
quote,
cool.
yeah, I didn't make it up.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Allah
I don't know
Akbar.
if it's an Islamic quote, it's just
That's
a
a good
quote.
one. I should use that one.
Shoot for the moon, aim for the stars, something like that.
Yeah. No, aim
what?
for the moon.
Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land among the stars. That's
Yeah,
what
that makes sense.
I don't remember his first teams.
But it was in my classroom in year 3, man. It was just on
No,
the
but
water.
it's beneficial still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically saying, even if you miss, then you'll land. Like, for example, if you have a very high intention of, like, I don't know, memorizing the 6 books of hadith, right? Even if you memorize just one,
That's still
that's
big
that's
achievement.
best, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just like that, fam.
You know, I feel like I mentioned this like a couple of times before as well. Like it's rewardable. You get me? The process.
The process is rewardable.
Rewardable.
All right, then gold ink, man. Allah Akbar.
Trust the process.
Yeah, trust the process. Yeah, exactly, man. Trust the process.
Yalla.
We're laughing. You want to share a joke?
Nah, yalla, let's just give me.
There's nothing else you guys want to add? Mustafa, man, come
Mustafa,
on.
bro,
I know
you
you got
go.
a banger there.
Wait, what's the question?
What is the question though?
No, there's no question.
Oh,
Anything you want to add? Any benefit for the viewers
What's the question
related to
though?
high
Benefit
aspirations?
us, Sheikh. One.
No, I got nothing, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big one. You know what Asad said. I just remembered. I think it was Ustad Muhammad Abdurrahman. I think he mentioned it once. He said, if you're feeling lazy, the first thing he said, I was shocked, you know, because that's the first thing he said. He said, look at the biographies of the Salaf. Look at their lifestyle when it comes to them seeking knowledge. I was shocked. Like, why did he mention this first? Well, like, once you do it, yeah, it motivates you a lot. But that motivation is not a lot. So the second point he mentioned was make a timetable. Smart, man.
Yeah.
So when you're in that zone,
Yeah,
of
when you're
being
motivated,
high,
you're like, yeah. That's when you make your goals.
You have to utilize that time. Most of the times at night.
Yeah, even I can't lie. This is a general principle in that when your iman is high, go all out attack, man. Because there's going to be a moment in time where it's going to be back down. And it's like,
But then you'll be grateful for what you did when you when it was.
exactly.
You needed that head start.
Yeah,
Utilize.
exactly. When this goes back to having high aspiration. When your iman is high, always do the maximum that you can. Because afterwards you fall back down. Look, imagine as a bar, yeah. Your iman is high.
Yeah.
Your iman's going up. If you just push it up to here, like this much, and then your iman goes low.
It's
the same
still
rate.
better
Yeah,
than-
it's still
better than what
above
you
the bar that you were at before.
No.
Did you get it? So if you go,
Let me give you a better example.
yeah, log on.
It's like a car. When you're driving 100 miles per hour, it's going to take longer for you to reach the zero than you would if you were driving at 40 miles per hour.
Breaking speed, break.
You get me?
Mad.
Because people
This
know
guy's the
about it.
Einstein of our generation.
Allah I've heard.
No. Einstein got nothing on me. Anyways,
No, it's a good point.
That was a good point still.
any
So it's
other
practical.
points?
But even if
Where did you get it from? Give me the sources.
I just thought of it now.
Allah about it.
Because you said bar. You thought of a bar, I thought of the RPM meter.
For the boy, for the car. Nice.
Perspectives. You hear me?
No, but what you said when the iman's high, you go all out.
Yeah.
No, but that's I don't know if that's practical though. Okay, like, you might.
Well, let's define all out. Use
You do.
I don't know. No, something like that.
Like
That's
strive
how
your
much
hardest,
is
strive
like.
your hardest.
No, but what do you might think about like?
Won't you burn out quicker though? Would you say?
that's a good point. That
Yeah,
is a
no,
very
but
good point.
what do you man think about like?
All out-
it depends if you
all
press the
out, according
brakes.
to Google, is using
Go
Google's
off
track
like 3 times,
resources.
son.
Go.
Now, like, what do you think? Like, you know, when you read the biography of the Salaf and stuff, like someone like they mentioned like, you know, someone might read that and then like you're just gonna be like, oh, I'll just become a zahid, innit? And then he just burns out after like 1 month and then he's just back to like, you know.
I see what you're
that man's
saying. Nah,
thing.
I see what you're
Another
saying.
story.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, no,
It's cool. It's a deliberation and like taking it step by step.
Yeah.
Quite easy.
You
You
know,
know.
أعمالي إلى الله أدومها
Yeah.
like the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent even if they're small. So obviously I'm saying set a target, set like a goal, set a timetable, whatever.
Yeah.
Little by little, because even if like what Amr said, if you're doing 4 lines a day, like, let's do the maths. 4 lines a day. What's that? Like,
Bro, but what I'm trying to say is
5 years.
that
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Remember.
That's not a lot. to be fair.
That is a good time. Like,
That's a good period.
Average- the
More
average
times it's gonna be
human lives
solid
like
as well.
60 years.
It's going to be solid as well
Yeah,
because
exactly.
when you learn bit by bit, it
Yeah,
becomes
yeah.
more solid.
yeah.
So
It's
Just focus for like 30 minutes. Because
It's just-
4 lines is like, I don't
So
know,
that
everyone's
discipline
different.
once you do it, keep doing it consistently, then you'll be able to do more consistently. And then by the end of it, like if you're doing it for a
Probably
good
increase
2-3 years, bro,
that,
you can
yeah,
go
yeah,
for like 5-6 hours
Yeah.
just deep focus. And a lot of people can do that, and that's like that's what we should be. And even then, yeah, when you're even doing a little bit, right, your aspiration should still be higher. You should still want to be, okay, at the end of this, I want to be a hafiz. And then after that, I want to do this, I want to do that. So you shouldn't ever lose sight of the goal, basically. And you should set high goals. And obviously, the ones that are achievable, but like you should push yourself to achieve even the highest ones, basically. Yeah. And even looking into the examples of like the scholars, right? Even because obviously they were well ahead of us and they were like, you know, the stuff they did was crazy, to be honest. Like, it's probably not achievable from us and that. But even then, like,
Crazy in a
future-
good way, yeah.
yeah, of course. Like for example, Imam Nawawi, like he attended like 10 classes or 11 classes
Yeah.
a day. Like he used to fall asleep with a book on his like lap, and his sister had to come and feed him because he was so focused on doing
But
his
he was
work.
a
And
Zahid, yeah.
and yeah, he was obviously there
He didn't get
different
married.
levels, isn't it? But even then, yeah. Okay, even look at the example of like for example,
We need those words, man. We need them.
yeah, sure, even
You know what I heard? I don't know if it's sahih or not, but I heard he's never slept with his back straight.
Yeah.
He's always slept just sitting down reading.
No,
or
it
something.
wasn't. It was like for a period.
yeah,
I
for
can't remember
5
what the
years, I
period
think
was.
5 years or something like that.
Some period of time that but it was
Yeah.
mad.
He slept with a book on him, like he fall asleep
Imagine
reading his
that.
books, basically.
Can't compare it. You can't compare us to him.
Yeah.
But you can strive.
Yeah, you can
But
strive.
even from the modern times, for example, Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he passed away, rahimahullah, like 21 years ago, right? So he still in our time, right? And he still achieved so much.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you should never think, even obviously the scholars of the past were unreal and like, rahimahullah, they achieved so much. But even then, we should still not lose sight of, okay, I still want to be like them and do what I can and reach a high level like them. Obviously, not to their extent because they was quite mad, but as much as you can do in our day and age, what's possible for us, we should try and reach that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, some people they say like, oh, that was back then, it was
It's not
easier.
possible.
Bro, look
it's
at the
easier
people
for
of
us
now.
now.
Yeah, exactly. They were saying back then it was easier, like they didn't have phones or any distractions. Look at the people of now, like you mentioned, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. Look at him, like look how much work he's done. It's still in like the same time period as us, so can't use that excuse, man.
Bro, it's easier because all the scholars from then did the hard work. They didn't have like, even if you look at books here, they didn't have the footnotes in the book.
Yeah.
They had to make the footnotes, bro. They didn't have the gradings of the hadith available on any website. They had to make they have to grade the hadith themselves, right? And they did all of that. So now for us, we have all of they have to write on like wood sticks and stuff like that, bro. Like it's easy for us now, but you know what? See, that's the thing. So if it's easier for us now, and it was harder for them then why are they so much higher than us?
Yeah.
And why are we so below? I think one of the reasons is high aspirations. That's definitely one of the reasons. It's probably more obviously, but it's one of the reasons that they aimed for the highest and they got that. But we're not aiming high. We're lazy and lethargic, and we don't want that. We don't want to work hard for it, basically. Yeah.
So yeah, man. You know, add anything else? No.
Nah, I was gonna one last thing.
Okay, go on.
Sorry, lad. I'll make it quick. Basically, you know, if one thing to help with your low aspirations is write it down. Once you're in a high, write stuff down, or have like signs that should always bring you back. So, for example, if you're a student of knowledge, build a library in your room. Like have books in your room, because when you're feeling down, sometimes you might just look at your library and be like, I was on that before, and then that will push you to like get back onto it. Another thing as well, write down things that you accomplish. So I don't know, on your notes or something that you always look at, like your book or whatever. Write down, I want to do this, or I've done this. So whenever you're feeling low, you look at it and be like, yeah, what am I doing with my life type of thing. Like I'm slacking. It will help you push you back to where you were before. Just little things like that.
There's one more thing going on from that. Like, how do you know you have low aspirations? There was like 3 things that I was listening to one of these teachers. They were saying that the first thing is you give precedence to like relaxing. The second one was with your content with like low achievements, whatever. Bare minimum. And the third thing was that you always like want to miss high opportunities, or you want to miss opportunities where, like for example, even I remind to myself like there's certain durus out there. If I'm not attending in it, like I'm not getting the best opportunities kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the signs, or 3 of the signs altogether, that show that you're a person of low aspirations. So may Allah make us from those who aim high on it.
I feel like that's a good point to end the episode on, inshallah. So yeah, that was High Aspirations. Make sure you guys share it with your friends and families. And that being said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.